For the Beijing Design Week, we presented a Hutong kind of renovation and regeneration project. It's an ongoing project. It's not a final product yet. It's a process. So we have been focusing for the last year and so on the east part of Tianmen region. It's a very complicated kind of situation. It has historically it has been a very unique residential area, which was very different from the typical hutongs in the north part of the city, what we call the inner city. In Qingdao, it's called the outer city, which means it's mostly occupied by the lower and middle income residents, not the people who are in the court. It's very rich. So the urban fabric in that region was very different. It has smaller courtyards. It has irregular courtyards. It really adapt to the geographic condition, the river, the slope. Is very sort of delicate. Urban fabric is unique, and it has been changed for the past 200, 300 years much. But recently, after the Olympic, a very dramatic change has occurred in that region. There's a very strong need to upgrade, to regenerate the entire region, but at the same time to keep some of the historical areas. So there's always a conflict between development and preservation. So when we started to do the research, I think the focus is really on how to make the balance. How to, because we have learned a lot from the past failures. A lot of the past development of Hutong areas is very, in my view, a very sort of single-minded, very simplified method to sort of plug in or to kind of develop a courtyard house and sell it to the super rich. So it's really the center of the city. In my picture, I think the danger is it becoming a sort of super rich, middle class, higher class residential cluster with monofunction, and it's a very closed society. When we see some of the examples already built in Beijing, the Hutong is that basically the super rich, they spend millions and millions of dollars purchasing these apartments, these courtyard houses, and then they turn it into their own residence. And the problem is that those kind of people, they don't really engage the Hutong life at all. So most of the time, if you go to those Hutongs, it's totally quiet, it's dead. And the people who live there, they have their own club, they have their own golf course. They don't live there at all. They just use this as an investment, as stocks. So, but on the other hand, a lot of the young people, the newcomers, new immigrants, there's no way, no place for them to live in a city at all because it's so expensive. There's a big need for these people to experience those cities. They like the big city, even the foreigners. They want to live in the inner city, but the amenities there doesn't accommodate their need at all. They don't need a big space, but they need private bathroom. They need a private kitchen probably, and a livable living condition. But when we go to the locals' residence, and we interviewed a lot of people and we did research, and the living condition is unbearable, basically. And there's also a need to improve. How to improve these type of people? We always think that it's important to keep at least some of these local residents where they live in the same region, not only to improve their living condition, but to continue the culture that they carry on for all these years, right? Um, so facing these type of multiple complicated tasks, we did a very thorough research with individual courtyards and hutongs, and we try to figure out the problem and how to do that. So in this exhibition, we showed a kind of a overall research at the beginning, the current condition, and then we come up with 3 very important strategies to go to improve the overall situation. Number 1 is the courtyard. We come up with the idea, based on our research, we come up with the idea of hybrid courtyard instead of single-family courtyards. We found out in history, after the Qing Dynasty, in the Republican period, a lot of the courtyard houses were already hybrid and mixed in terms of residency. So, and it's very interesting, we found, it's a very interesting Chinese novel which describes this kind of a social network within the hutong, within the courtyards, within the neighbors. And I think that if we can come up with a way to create a series of hybrid mixed courtyard typology, so we allow the local residents to live in, at the same time we can also accommodate new people to mix with the old residential neighborhood. So it's not going to be a monolithic sort of social condition at this moment. Now if you go to those old neighborhoods, you only see old people on the street. You rarely see young people and mid-aged people. So it's very problematic. So we thought if we can keep the units small, we fit 3 or 4 or 5 small families in the existing standard hutong and courtyards. So basically we bring more people into the region, but at the same time we bring diverse sort of mix to activate, really bring life back to those kind of deteriorated areas. So this is number 1. So we studied 10 sort of prototypes. 4 of them are under construction at this moment. And this type of hybrid hutongs, you have to deal with a lot of issues. For example, the plumbing system, we have to provide private bathroom, even it's very small, but we have to have it. And the private kitchen and living loft. We're trying to use the space 3-dimensionally to accommodate more storage space for children and for the old people. And also we have to work out a system to provide privacy and semi-private space within the courtyard, because it used to be like for one family, there's no privacy issue at all, but now you have to somehow subdivide the courtyard to create the layers of privacy, things like that. So we all show it in the exhibition with our drawings and models. And after that, the individual courtyard, if we can do this hybrid courtyard, then the hutong, we have to somehow fix the hutong. We have to put the infrastructure and provide some kind of amenity in the hutong. The public toilet, we upgrade the public toilet together with storage for their bicycles and electrical bicycles and stuff like all these kind of issues. Finally, the 3rd step, after we kind of regenerate the hutong life, and then how to make the society better, how to make the community better. And we found out there has been historical the clubhouses, which has been empty for years, and so we come up with a proposal to reactivate the traditional public space. The clubhouse for the locals, there are also clubhouses and temples for the immigrants. At that time, there are so many immigrants from other cities in China. They all come to Beijing to participate the national examination, to participate a lot of cultural events. They have their own hotels and gathering spaces. All these spaces, we want to reactivate and make those as new public spaces in the hutongs, because there's big lack of public space in those regions. So by doing that, also we try to connect the hutong and make the hutong as a more public, more interesting, more active space. So we actually collaborate with another Tsinghua University professor, Li Degang, and with their team to how to do the visual presentation, how to engage more activities in the hutong.